Hi, we are Brad and Cindy, and we are starting our RV adventure as traveling the U.S.
Our first big project, and our first YouTube video, is building up the garage floor in our toy hauler to make it an office instead of a garage, because our toys use electrons, not gasoline. In this video, we will reclaim about 20 inches of the ramp into the garage into usable floor space. In future videos, we will insulate and carpet the floor.
We forgot to take a picture of the floor as is, so we took a picture of a ramp of another rig. It has a ramp for about the last 25 inches. Since we don't need the ramp, we will build it up to the level of the main part of the floor. It took us a couple of days of planning and spread out over a couple of weeks. It took a couple of days of building as well. The basic idea is to make wedges of 2x4 to bring the ramp up to the level, and then put a sheet of OSB on top of it. There are many imperfections in the final product, but the carpet padding and the carpet itself will hide the multitude of problems.
Our garage is 8 feet 1 inch wide by 13 feet long, with the rear couple feet of the garage being the top of the ramp, and the last several inches being taken up with our 3-season door. We decided to just use 4 foot by 8 foot sheets of OSB and shim the extra inch along the edge. We considered using baseboard, but that seemed excessive. As you'll see in a future video, it's fortunate we made that decision.
First, we dove under the rig to see what kind of supports there would be for attaching the wood to the floor. Turned out to be plenty. There are a total of 7 supports. 2 are I-beams and 5 regular joists. The joists at the far right end and the left end will need special handling because the wall is built over them. You'll see those in a few minutes.
Second, we built triangles to be used as support wedges. To determine the angles and sizes of the supports we needed, we measured the length of the ramp that we would be able to build up. We left plenty of room for the 3-season door, which opens outwards, and for the 1/2 inch OSB that would go on top of the supports. To measure the wedges, we laid a straight edge, in our case a long level, out along the floor and over the ramp, and then placed a section of 2x4 along it to scribe the line. We cut the 2x4s on that diagonally scribed line. We used the first wedge we cut as a template for the others. For each section of the 2x4 we cut, we got 2 support wedges.
To determine the placement of the wedges, we placed one on the ramp, making sure there was room for the 1/2 inch of OSB. We do not have the picture to show how we did that, but what we did was to hold the straight edge over that ramp and slid the wedges down until there was a 1/2 inch gap between the bottom of the straight edge and the top of the wedges. In our case, the edge of the wedge turned out to be about where the sheet metal covering the bend in the floor ended. Then, using the chalk line to keep the wedges lined up, we placed the rest on the floor.
Then Brad pre-drilled the 5 accessible joists and I-beams for 2 screws each, wearing safety glasses, of course. Remember, we couldn't attach to the 2 joists on the ends.
After pre-drilling, we could see where the supports wanted to go, and could place them perfectly over the pre-drilled holes. Good thing it was daylight so we could see the light through the holes. We did each support wedge one at a time. Cindy placed the wedge over the holes on the floor and held it in place while I first pre-drilled through those holes in the joist up into the wedges. Then immediately switched the bit and screwed in the screw with liquid nails for reinforcement. We did each of the 10 holes individually, pre-drilling, then screwing in for the many drill bit changes.
For the 2 wedges on the ends, Brad braced them to the wedges next to them. They aren't attached to the floor, but they are attached to the next door support wedges, which are attached to the floor.
We then fitted the OSB on top of the support wedges We had bought a new sheet of OSB at Home Depot and had them cut the 19-inch piece. Since they could do it for free and will make a straighter cut than we can, it only made sense. We then placed the OSB on the floor and left a small gap the width of the floor between the edge of the OSB and the bend in the floor. While this gap would have been unnoticed under the planned insulation board and plywood that you'll see in a future video, we shaved it down anyway. We tilted the blade of the table saw to match the angle of the floor, and then attached a scrap 2x4 to the 19-inch of OSB strip so that the saw would be able to work with it. I then cut off that tiny little bit. We laid it down on the floor and it was perfect.
Finally, for this stage anyway, we glued and screwed the OSB down to the wedges, and we have 19 more inches of floor. Since we forgot to take a picture of just the extended floor, we used a picture we took for Part 2, insulating the floor, to show the new larger floor. We still need to put some sort of finishing along the back where the wedge joists show above the ramp, but we don't have room to open the patio or the immediate need. We'll get to it sometime, probably.
You can see the list of materials and the overview of the steps we took in the description below. We hope this video was useful to you. Please like it and subscribe to be noticed of the rest of how we turned our garage into an office and other modifications that we do have planned in the future.